Teneale Cameron, you're joining us from Médecins Sans Frontières, which some of our listeners will know as Doctors Without Borders. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. And thank you for all the support as well. We're really grateful to be involved.
Oh, it's our pure pleasure. Now, as a professional fundraiser or former professional fundraiser myself, I'm really interested to learn about what you do at MSF and how you came to be in that position.
Yeah, of course. So my role here is Senior Fundraising Manager in Gifts and Wills, but also in community fundraising. And for any fundraisers listening, I don't feel like we were kids believing this was our dream. However, fortunately, found fundraising humanities by chance. As mentioned, I started my career as a nurse actually, and I loved and found myself speaking to patients and wishing I had more time for that. And I wondered how I could help more people. I took a step back. I made a bit of a shift and went back to uni and to figure it out and discovered fundraising by chance. I'm sure you can relate to that, Shay. It's not something that we, choose, but yeah, it's an incredible area of work that we do. And over the past 17 years, I've worked with various health-based organisations in not-for-profit space. And when I joined Medicine Sans Frontiers Australia and New Zealand, or as most of you probably refer to us, Doctors Without Borders or MSF, I truly felt I'd found an organisation whose values aligned with my own. For those that aren't familiar, MSF's commitment to delivering sustainable healthcare through local partnership really resonated with me. I've always believed in the power of local staff to bring lasting change to their communities, and MSF's model of predominantly hiring and empowering local teams reflects this beautifully. These beautiful professionals that go out into our communities are really incredible and they really provide incredible patient care. Another
Mm.
reason I'm proud to be part of MSF is an organisation that's unwavering commitment to neutrality and partiality. In my work, I've learned how crucial it is to operate without bias and focus on helping those in needs, regardless of their background, nationality, or any other factor, really. Yeah, so I think that's in a nutshell why I found myself at MSF, and it's something I'm really proud to work on. And I can go in more detail in terms of what I actually do here. But yeah, I think for me, Doctors Without Borders places a high value on independence, impartiality, and neutrality, and it's something that, yeah, I'm really proud to work with.
Yeah, that's so beautiful. Thank you. That's really interesting that you kind of were looking to expand your impact and ended up in fundraising. I was actually the opposite. I have never worked out of the not-for-profit sector. It was always my goal. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, so it was like I feel like I was kind of born a fundraiser. Like as a kid, I was. I remember like I donated I think it was like $35 in 5-cent coins that I'd collected in a Tweety Bird money box when I
Yeah, I
was
was the
like,
same as a kid. I think, yeah,
yeah.
I think I was born to be a fundraiser, but happened to find it. I wish I knew early on that it was a career and that was a place I could be. And I think working for not-for-profits, working for purpose, it's something that I'll never leave. It's, yeah, so exciting.
Mm, gorgeous. Yeah, it's that thread was there and now with the impact you're having. Beautiful. So in this sort of international development and international crisis humanitarian response space, we often hear like a lot of statistics, big numbers,
Mm,
big percentages. But what I often deliberately come back to is that these numbers represent real individual people with their own lives, their own stories, just like you and I have our own lives,
mm.
our own stories, our own families. And so as a fundraiser, is there someone or, a particular story or situation that has really stuck with you that you feel kind of you often return to reflect on or to be inspired by or that really motivates you or like really got inside?
Yeah, I think for me, I'm very fortunate to talk to a lot of supporters, and I think they're key to what we do. Obviously, the work we do is really impactful, and I love hearing about the work that we're doing on the ground. And obviously, at the moment, there's a lot of focus on what's happening in Gaza or Sudan. And you hear heartbreaking stories day to day, and it's really gut-wrenching. And knowing that we have people there supporting them and being able to treat patients is inspiring every day. And I get to hear those stories, and sometimes it's hard to process that. But then I also look at our supporters, and they're the ones that truly amaze me too, that they are choosing to give to our organization, trust us enough in order to do the work that we do. And so, yeah, whilst it's not necessarily a story, I think for me, it is that kind of element that people want to go out and support people. And I think, as I said earlier, people don't realize that we are locally hired majority of the time. So it's not necessarily Australians flying in and supporting them and leaving again. We're training people on the ground and able to do our work. And especially in Gaza at the moment, we've lost too many people over there, too many of our staff on the ground. And that really resonates with me in the sense that they're doing anything they can. They could have left. They could have left early and they could have found safety, but what they chose to do is stay and be on the ground and enable care for these patients that were, being bombed relentlessly. So yeah, for me, I think it's staff, it's the supporters, as well as our patients. I think it all inspires me every day.
Yeah, and I suppose it's you can really draw some strength and dedication from that, even on days when you're feeling tired
Oh,
yourself.
completely.
That you
That's
can
it.
be with those people instead of
Exactly. I'm just behind my desk or on the ground and in safe areas and all of that. And I think I sit there all the time. And, whilst it can become overwhelming, I just get so inspired. And I'm like, yes, okay, you got to do even better today, raise even more money to ensure our patients are supported.
Yeah, I totally relate to that. I think one of the reasons I found yoga is to sort of manage myself better so I could keep showing up in
Mm-hmm.
the sort of role that you do now.
Oh,
How do
completely.
you, manage with overwhelm and burnout and, difficult things to process yourself that you encounter in your work?
I'm exactly the same. Tend to go and do yoga at least 3 days a week or Pilates as well. I find having that space just to decompartmentalize. The other thing I tend to do is switch off at the end of the day and have a shower. It seems weird, but it's just kind of washing the day off and, feeling that you're back in your body and able to have your space. But yeah, yoga and Pilates are definitely a nice way to find that mindfulness and reconnect with you as a person. So yeah, I find that really beautiful. And it's a nice way for me just to focus on breath and focus on person as well.
Yeah, beautiful. Some important regulation there, Teneale.
It is. It definitely is.
Yeah. I want to return to some things that you've already mentioned, and that's the principles, the ethics through which MSF operates and, is governed. And so you've mentioned the independence, the impartiality, and the neutrality. Can you talk a little bit more to what like that actually means in in practical terms and what like how that sets you as an organization apart from say other organizations?
Oh, of course. Yeah. So, as you said, Doctors Without Borders or MSF places a high value on independence, impartiality, and neutrality to ensure it can provide medical assistance based solely on need, regardless of political, religious, and ethnic affiliations. Independence means MSF relies on private funding, which allows us to work free from political or military influence. Impartiality for us ensures we prioritize those who need it most, no matter who they are. And neutrality means we do not take sides in conflicts, allowing us access to areas where other organisations may not be trusted. And I guess these principles are crucial because they protect our staff, enable us to negotiate access to dangerous areas, and help us maintain and trust of communities and authorities.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think also, like, I mean, this is a Bhakti Women's Summit, so a lot of people listening will be very, deeply immersed in the philosophy of yoga, which is actually all about union and connection. And so for me, although MSF is like it's governed by medical ethics,
Hmm.
there's a real crossover there because yoga teaches us that everyone matters, everyone's worthy, and we're all, the same at the core. And so MSF's approach to helping everyone, no matter what, no
Hmm.
matter what their gender, their ethnicity, their location, really for me just speaks to that profound respect and love and recognition, human to human.
Yeah, completely agree. Yeah, it's true. And I think impartiality and neutrality can sometimes be misunderstood as well as silence, but it's not the case. And MSF is quite vocal when it comes to denouncing atrocities like genocide or ethnic cleansing, when evidence supports those claims as well. So, yeah, speaking out is part of our mandate, and raising awareness of these realities can mobilize action, hold perpetrators accountable, and amplify the voices of affected communities as well. And neutrality doesn't mean ignoring the truth, it means presenting it with integrity and ensuring it's grounded in our first-hand experiences as well. And I think, that does sit with that yoga kind of lifestyle too, in the sense that, whilst it does seem quite intense in some ways that we do speak out in that way, but it's because we are, holding ourselves accountable for what we value.
Mm, yeah. Yeah, exactly. I really love that you've said that because I think sometimes neutrality or impartiality comes out as, well, I'm not choosing sides or I'm going to take a passive stance or just not say anything, like
Yeah.
you'll even, at family arguments or you're having a board game, and you're trying to adjudicate who's winning Monopoly or whatever. And it's like, I'm neutral, but it's sort of neutral in that sense is I'm opting out of this. Whereas
Yeah,
actually that is not
exactly.
what neutrality is.
It's not at all, and that's it. And I think, that's something that MSF is we are neutral in the way that we which ensure care for everybody, but we're not neutral in the sense that we will denounce atrocities where needed as well. And it's similar
Yeah.
with that yoga thing. You're taking time for yourself. You're not taking time to be silent. You're taking time to care.
Yeah. I'm not sure if you're aware, Teneale, through your own practice, like if your own teachers convey this, but there are two, the two first yamas, which are like the sort of ethical moral principles that yogis are supposed to follow. The first is ahimsa, non-violence, and the second is satya, truth. And for me,
Hmm.
they're so very connected. And ahimsa isn't just passive. Like some people think of it as, oh, I just will make sure I don't step on ants. And, if there's a spider in my bathroom, I'll move it. And, that's important. But it's not just about doing no harm. It's about recognizing where harm is occurring and taking an active approach to stop that. And
Hmm.
that's related to truth because sometimes you have to call out the violence. You have to call out the harm to then actually address that. And so
Oh,
it's
completely.
kind of not about living in your own little bubble. It's about turning to work towards the world and, really considering what is going on here and how can I respond to that from a heart-centered place.
Oh, completely. Yeah. And as I said, it's like holding perpetrators accountable and amplifying the voices of affected communities. It's not, doing that without awareness as well.
Yeah, in fact, you couldn't do your work without doing that. Yeah. Mm.
Exactly.
So on that, would you give us an update, or just explain to us the sorts of work that MSF is doing at the moment throughout the world?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, as I've spoken to, MSF is constantly responding to emergencies around the world. For instance, we are currently addressing the ongoing humanity crisis in Sudan, as well as Gaza, as well as everywhere. I think a lot of the time our focus can be seen on these emergencies, but we're there on the ground every day. Our teams are providing essential healthcare from surgeries to vaccinations, which is in incredibly challenging conditions, as you would imagine, in Gaza and Sudan at the moment. We are also responding to outbreaks of disease like cholera and measles. At the same time, we're continuing our long-term projects such as treating HIV and AIDS and tuberculosis. Always get stuck on that one. In under-resourced areas and running mental health programs. That's something I was really inspired by when I started MSF. I didn't realize how much we do in the mental health space for displaced populations. And despite the challenges, we remain committed to delivering the healthcare wherever it's needed most. It's quite layered, quite complex, and we work in, I think, over 70 countries worldwide, which is really incredible. And we do it every
Yeah.
day.
70 countries, that is massive.
It
Yeah.
really is.
Yeah.
Don't think I can name 70 countries off the top of my head.
Yeah, because I think people probably when they because oftentimes representatives from MSF are in the news, like
Mhm.
commenting on what's going on, and we'll sometimes in our minds think, oh, you work in war zones, which of course you do work in situations where there's conflict, ethnic cleansing, genocide, war, but also you're working in communities that are, for example, experiencing famine or that are
Mhm.
experiencing, the effects of a natural disaster. Is that right?
That's right. And I think, we're there all the time. And I think obviously the emergencies do get the focus, but, things like malnutrition are ongoing. And we, work really closely with those communities to ensure, we're treating in the right way and that we're medically providing the care that those communities need. And we're also, as I spoke to, doing mental health programs. So it's things like in Gaza at the moment, yes, we have a ceasefire, but there's ongoing conditions that these people are going to need in terms of medical care, but also in terms of mental care. So yeah, we do things worldwide, and it's amazing the support that we do provide and the people that are able to go into those communities, but also are living in those communities daily to provide that care.
Yeah, thank you. And so you're in the fundraising team. Can you tell us
I
the
am.
best ways that us lay people, who are not working on the ground, like how can we best support the work that MSF does?
Oh, there's so many ways. And I think, as I spoke to earlier, I'm so amazed by the community and our supporters that are enabling us to do this work. We couldn't be, doing the work that we are doing around the world in those 70 countries without community support. And so there's a lot of ways you can get involved. So you can either donate financial contributions directly or obviously fund our medical projects and are crucial for maintaining our independence. So you can do that either online or directly over the phone. You can advocate as well, so share our stories and ways raise awareness of global health crises. Awareness obviously leads to action as well, so it is something I'm passionate about. You can advocate either locally, you can just talk about MSF, just raising that awareness about the work that we do really helps. Or join us. MSF looks for medical professionals, so if you've got that medical professional skill set or other skilled individuals as well, it's not always just medical, there's logicians and stuff as well that we need, and join our field teams or fundraise. I know that's obviously what I do, but I think, people can donate directly their own money, but you can also involve yourself, like either do a challenge event or look for ways to, get your community involved, whether do a yoga event and instead of raising funds like we are talking about today. This is a fundraiser itself. You can donate and ask your community to donate and support MSF's work. And leave it, or what I also do, leave a gift in your will. I think people don't understand the value of writing a will, let alone leaving a gift, or know that's an option to write a will and then leave a gift to a charity that you care about. So if you don't have a will, it is something you should consider. Whilst it does seem a bit scary and daunting, you're all probably healthy, living individuals. However, we need to protect those that we love around us as well. So consider writing your will, and if you do support MSF's values and work as well, or other organisations, consider leaving a gift to them.
Yeah,
But yeah,
beautiful.
every contribution, whether it's time, money, or advocacy, makes a difference in helping us to save lives as well.
Yeah. So can I pick that up that thread on gifts in wills?
Mm,
Because I think is it like where I mean most of the people listening to this call we're from Australia, but there will be people in other parts of the world. But
hmm
I was thinking I heard recently that there are like 50% of Australians who adult Australians don't have a will. Is that right?
Yeah, I think it's even higher than that statistic. I don't have it at top of
Wow.
mind, but it's quite amazing how many people don't have a will or a valid will. They may have wrote, a few notes or the like, but you need it to be witnessed or talk to your solicitor, or you can do it online these days as well. It's quite easy to write a will. So if you don't have one, I highly encourage you to write one. I've got a will because, I don't anticipate on passing away and for another 50 years at least. But I think, should something happen, I want to ensure the people I care about, my loved ones, my pets, all of that, are looked after and ensuring, my wishes are upheld as well. And I think, yeah, it's something that we should all consider
Yeah.
and put
My
effort in.
husband and I made a will, like in anticipation of me having a child.
Hmm
I think a lot of people, like when they have major life events, they're like, oh, now that I've bought a house, or now that I've got married, or now that I've had a kid, or now that I'm retired, they think, oh, I have to maybe think about these sorts of things like making a will. So they're really good kind of triggers to make us think, oh, maybe I should think about this. And so that's when my husband and I did. And we've got four
hmm
charities in our will and well, in our wills, I should say. And I think like often people will think, oh, I can't put a charity or charities in my will because I need to provide for my family. But actually, it's
hmm
possible to do both.
It is. It really is, and it's something we always say. Consider your loved ones first, and make sure they're provided for and cared for, and know that's what your wishes are. But then also consider leaving a charity. You can leave a percentage of your will, and it could be I want to leave 1%, 2%, 3%, whatever it might be. There's always something if that's something you care about to leave behind, and it does make a huge impact. The work that we are doing today on the ground is made possible thanks to people that made that incredible decision before they passed away, and the work we'll do in the future is because of those individuals that have left such a selfless gift and such an inspiring gift in their will, and yeah, enables work years to come, which is incredible.
Yeah. I mean, what an amazing legacy, like to have accumulated any wealth. Like, I mean, you don't even have to be wealthy to do this. Like, if you have a car or if you have any assets, if you have a bank account, like you need to have a will, right? And so,
That's so true.
no matter whether you consider yourself wealthy or not so much, I mean, we're definitely not. Um, Mind you, we do have to allocate who's going to get my husband's record collection.
Uh,
You could probably
it would
sell
be
that
an
and donate it
incredible
to
legacy
charity.
to leave that record collection.
Yeah. But yeah, what I'm getting at is like, you know, that ability to live on through contributing to such significant and important work. Like in
It
yoga,
is.
our philosophy is that, like, you know, there's something of the energy that remains. You know,
Hmm.
we're here having a human experience now, and then at some point, you know, our physical bodies will die, but the spirit soul will go somewhere else
Yes.
and do something else. And so I feel like that's comforting for a lot of people when they're thinking about death, because you know, death is part of life and it's a transition, but there's always something of us in some form. But for
It's
me, a gift in a will is like, that sounds to me like a very tangible way to live on, to
It
have an impact
definitely
after.
is, exactly. Like even giving in your life's time to organizations like Medicine
Mm,
Sans Frontières, you're never going to meet the patient that dollar is helping, but it does help them today. And then the way that you can leave a legacy in such a beautiful way, you're not going to see that. You're not going to be able to spend that money. You're not going to be able to, see that come to fruition. But the patients you support, that's going to be such an incredible legacy in that way.
yeah.
They're not going to be able to say thank you to you either way, like living or passed away, but that soul connection is incredible, and that legacy that they're leaving behind is really making a tangible impact in the future.
And so if someone did want to leave a gift to their will in their will to MSF, they could contact your organization and get the right wording to use.
Yeah, definitely. I highly encourage that. I think if it's MSF or any other organization, contact the organization you want to leave that gift to. We can ensure we can provide the right wording for your solicitor, or if you do choose to do it online, a lot of the online will providers do have that wording already. However, yeah, I highly encourage you to talk to them, and we can also speak to you about the impact that legacy could leave.
Yeah, beautiful. And you also mentioned like people being able to do events, like get together with their friends in some way, talk to them about MSF's work, and you know, fundraise in that sense. I know that a lot of yoga teachers do sort of what they might think of as a karma class.
Hmm.
They will teach a class, but instead of the money being received by themselves, they will choose to donate that money, or it's sort of they'll call on their students to give a little extra, perhaps. And so, you know, that might be a modest amount of money, like a few $100s, but every bit counts, doesn't it?
It really does. And yeah, I get really inspired with that community effort as well. I think if you can and they do want to consider doing that in that way, it's also talking about MSF. And as we've done so today, a lot of people probably aren't aware of the length of work we do and the everything like that. So I think, yeah, if it's either MSF or another organization, it raises awareness and it raises that advocacy piece as well as every dollar. And those dollars do count and it does make a huge impact for patients. And you think about malnutrition, things like plumpy nuts. They don't come for free. We can send them over with those funds raised. It's incredible.
Mm. And I would imagine that, you know, with the work that you do, it also really helps to know that, like, you've got money coming in. It's not just sporadic, like gifts when you can receive donations, but actually, I assume that you would have a program where people can give every month, like a regular gift, and
Yeah,
that would be
exactly. Yeah,
like so
regular
important to
gifts.
you because you know that it's going to be there to rely on.
Oh, definitely. Whether it's there $10 a month out of your paycheck, like if you do workplace giving, or you can do it yourself and donate on a monthly basis. That's incredible because then we know, next month we've got, 5 people giving $10 each. We know where those funds are going to go and where they're coming from. So I think, yeah, that is an incredible way to give. If that's something that people are interested in, again, you can contact us and we can set that up. I do that myself. It comes out of my paycheck every month and I don't even realize it's gone. I donate to MSF as well as other organizations I care about. And when it comes out, you don't even miss that money because you never knew it was even in there.
So that can be set up through payroll, like that's workplace giving.
Yeah, workplace giving, yes, you can set it up for your payroll if your workplace does it, or you can do regular giving yourself. So you can set it up as an automated payment with us as well
Yeah.
directly.
Beautiful. I give $15 a month to MSF. I can't afford more than that at the moment, but I'm the sort of person that will always give what I can.
Uh,
Um,
that's
and
incredible. Well,
yeah, and
thank
so
you for
like
doing
one day
that. That's
I'd like to give
amazing.
more than that, but like at the moment that's what I'm giving. But yeah, I don't even notice it going. Like it's just set up on my credit card and off it goes. And you know how you get those little notifications on your phone when there's a transaction gone out of your account and it's like you've paid your power bill or you've paid your and you go,
Yes.
ugh. But whenever I get the like you've paid $15 to MSF, I'm like, Yeah, I have.
Yeah,
And it's like I feel good
yes,
about that
that's
as
so
opposed to
true.
the
I
other
did the
money that's
same.
going out of
Yes,
my
you're like,
account.
exactly. And coffee these days is so expensive. I always look at it and I'm like, oh, that's just 2 cups of coffee. Like,
Yeah,
yes, go
exactly. And
me.
that was my
I'm helping other
perspective.
people.
Yes, I was like, "Oh, I don't know if I can afford to do this." And I'm like, "You can.
You
Like,
can.
you
Yeah,
can." So I
exactly.
did.
It does. Oh, thank you for that. That's amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. So give us your website so people can head there if they want to make a donation now. But also, to everyone listening, there is an opportunity, and you might have already taken that up to upgrade. So for a donation of $97 or more, you can get lifetime access to all of the summit recordings, and to another epic sort of bonus, you've got a couple of online trainings to do with myself and my collaborator Katie Rose, and a really amazing ebook, which is an inspiration and action kit. So for a donation or a contribution, which will benefit MSF, you can get all of those bonuses. But aside from that, you might like to make a donation direct to MSF. So Teneale, what would that website be?
So it's msf.org.au. And
Oh,
thank you
that's
for
easy to
everyone.
remember.
It's so easy, so easy. Or even if you just Google it, you can find us. But yeah, thank you, Shay. I think, it's incredible the work that you guys are doing and really appreciate those that do decide to register because those funds will make a difference as well.
Honestly, I feel like it's the least we can do. It's I really admire the work that everyone at MSF is doing. So I want to give deep gratitude to the work that you do in the world. And thank you so much for the time that we've spent today too.
Thank you. Thank you for having us on board.
You're welcome.